Hey everybody, welcome back to Boardgames with the Family. This is now my third attempt at recording this. I've tried twice directly on YouTube and it's just error connecting and stuff. So I managed to lose two versions of this, but third time lucky. So normally what I do is obviously I do my rules overview and then I do my playthrough with Benji, then I give my final thoughts. My scheduling, trying to get time to actually play with Benji, sometimes is a bit limited, so I thought I'd just do things in a slightly different order this time. So done my rules overview, I'll give my final thoughts now, and then I'll upload my video with Benji hopefully in a few days' time, just so you can kind of give it kind of your, you should hopefully confirm what I've been saying. Now before I do my final thoughts, I did say I'd talk about the Wizard's Tower expansion. So, one thing is that whenever you listen or you hear stuff about Castle Panic, nearly every reviewer I've ever seen almost immediately says, but you need the Wizard's Tower. And I'm here to say I don't think that's true, or I don't think that's necessarily true. So, let's have a look at what comes in the Wizard's Tower. First of all, it does come with this bag. This bag is awesome. I'm really pleased I got it, almost for this bag alone. It comes with a whole host of monsters, most of which I've now thrown over the desk during my run-through. It comes with, wherever they've gone, lots and lots of these imps. It comes with, wherever he's gone, lots of these odd-shaped kind of mega boss tokens. Here's another one. That was the Basilisk. This is the Warlock. It comes with flame tokens, and of course it comes with the tower itself, and I nearly forgot, it comes with new wizard cards, and also it comes with some new castle cards. So essentially the way the game works, you'll get rid of one of these towers, the normal ones, and instead you'll use the Wizard's Tower. Just by the way, for size comparison, it's definitely more impressive. So essentially, as long as the Wizard's Tower is standing, once a turn, one of your cards can be drawn from, when you draw up, one of your cards can be drawn from the Wizard's deck. Actually, that's not true at all. I've completely got that wrong. It's if you choose, you can when you choose to discard and draw, you can discard and draw one of these. These cards, the Wizard's cards, are really, really powerful. They do things like fireballs and chain lightning and all the kind of wizardy stuff you'd expect. So, and I really like these cards. These cards are awesome. What I don't like are the new monsters. So, in the old game, or the base game, you had orcs, goblins, trolls. Did exactly the same thing as each other. All they did was they had different amount of hit points. But they moved in the same way, they did the same thing. The only variation you had were the 4 boss monsters. So 4 monsters. And even then, the only thing they did was, the healer, well, he heals. That's kind of obvious, it's in the name. The Goblin King, well, he brings friends with him. The Orc Warlord and the Troll Mage, I might forget the names, but they move other monsters. And remember, it's on the corner of the board, which I know you can't see on camera. But it tells you on the board what it does. The new ones, you need this. That's got horrible, horrible glare on it, but you need this. So this has all different monster types, and it tells you exactly what they do. Or in the rulebook, it's on. It's on. How many pages is it on? Yeah, this is a rulebook, by the way. It's got one of these little things. I can't even find it now. Here we go. It's on pretty much all that page, and then this is all the ones for the mega bosses, and so is that one. You've got 1, 2, 3, about 4 pages worth of rules. 4 pages worth of rules. The original book only had about 4 pages for the monsters. Now what do? Well, I'll read a couple. The Centaur is slayed if damaged in the Night Ring, not damaged by hit cards in the Archer Ring. The Cyclops is slayed if damaged in the Archer Ring, not damaged by hit cards in the Swordsman Ring. The Doppelganger cannot be hit or slayed and does not move, replaced by next monster destroyed. The Gargoyles, immune to Night Swordsman, all boulders, tar and drive him back. It just goes on and on and on, all these different rules, and then you get to the mega bosses. The Necromancer, when drawn, moves 2 randomly selected monsters from the discard pile to the monster draw pile. Well, that's kind of thematic, he's bringing Raising the Dead. Destroyed when it attacks a structure and returns 1 slayed monster from discard to draw pile for each point remaining. Okay, the Warlock, when drawn, all players discard 1 wizard. It just goes on. All these extra rules just kind of drag the game down. And my wife will refuse to play with this expansion now. She will only agree to play Castle Panic if we play base game, which is why actually my Wizard's Tower stuff is bagged, or at least it was before I threw half over the desk. Because now I tend to not play it. Now don't get me wrong, it's not a bad expansion. It really isn't. I know I've just kind of put a massive downer on it, but it changes the game. The base game, which I'll come to in a minute, is very, very simple, very family friendly. The expansion makes it into more of a gamer's game. Now, that's not a bad thing in itself, but my argument is, why do you need a gamer's game? You've got other games that do that, haven't you? Anyway, I'm not saying don't get the Wizard's Tower expansion. What I am saying is just do a little bit of research. Just see if you definitely need it. Don't just take the whole, oh, well, you need the Wizard's Tower expansion. You know, don't take that as gospel. Just do a little bit of research yourself. Now, equally, I am absolutely prepared to be, have this discussed with. If you want to, if you think I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. Put it in the comments below. Justify your reason. Maybe there's something I'm missing. But my point is, it takes what is a simple family game and makes it into something that it doesn't need to be. Anyway, that's kind of why I stripped it out of the run-through. But instead, let's talk more about the base game. So the base game, as I've probably already hinted at, I think is absolutely fantastic. If you have young children, if your children are somewhere between the ages of, let's say, 6 and 12, and I've kind of just made up those figures based on kind of Benji, then I think this game is an almost must-buy. Particularly if they have any interest in kind of the fantasy genre. You know, if they like orcs and trolls, I think this is almost a must-purchase. If you play with non-gamers quite regularly, if you have a spouse or a friend that's often around that doesn't play games, Castle Panic is a really, really easy introduction. It's a co-op game. It's relatively easy to win, which is kind of nice when you're playing with kids. So they get used to. Benji doesn't like losing. And I think this is it's a nice game. It's something that if it's getting near to bedtime, they might be getting a bit tired. Castle Panic, you can almost guarantee you're going to win it. Now, I think it's also fair to point out there are some variants, and in fact, the co-op version that I've gone through is a variant. The main game, or the main rules, say there's what they call the Master Slayer. Now, if you're familiar with Legendary at all, this works in the same way, in that you have to win, but once you win, whoever's killed the most monsters, or in Legendary got the most points, is the Master Slayer. Now, here I think it feels, but now I have to say I've never played with this rule, simply because I just think if I'm playing a co-op, I like playing a co-op. I think something like Legendary I also tend to play. We do count points at the end, and we say, oh, so-and-so won, but we don't make a big deal out of it. And we always play it as a co-op. You know, with Legendary, when you've got a chance of doing harmful things or not doing harmful things, we always choose the nice thing to do. Castle Panic, as I've said, is quite easy. I think one of the reasons it might be quite easy is because it's designed with this Master Slayer in mind. Now, one thing the Master Slayer does is make it a little bit more tactical. So suddenly when you're trading cards, you might think, well, I need to give this card to Benj because otherwise we're going to lose a war. But actually, if I give this card to Benji, then he's going to get the point and I'm not. And that might probably in itself make it more difficult. So maybe as Benji gets a bit older, I might try that Master Slayer variant, because I think it's a really, really nice, or actually not the variant, the actual rules, because I could see that adding a bit of tension and a bit more strategy to it, and remove it from this kind of easy run through. But I haven't played it. There's another expansion, the Overlord expansion, where one person actually controls all the monsters and can choose to bring them on the board. I haven't even looked at the rules for that, because I personally don't have much of an interest in that. Again, I have other games if I want to do a 1 versus 1 or 1 versus many. I can pick out something like Descent or anything like that and play that. But again, it's there if you want it. It's there in the rules, and it's nice. It adds a bit of variety. There are also ways in the rules to make it harder or make it easier. So it's nice. It's very, very nice. I do have one little problem with the game, which is the flow. If I can explain it that way. So what I mean by that is, the game starts off quite easy, as you probably saw in the quick run through I've done already, where there aren't that many monsters on the board. You're killing them all. In fact, there can be turns where there are no monsters on the board, or there are monsters on the board, but they're only archer rings. You can't use it. They're in the forest rings. You can't actually do anything. And then, because of these tile draws, suddenly you can draw the Goblin King. He brings out 3 more monster tokens. One of them can be the draw 4 monster tokens. One of them can be the draw 3 more monster tokens. And so before you know it, you've got a whole board full, and the panic sets in. But then once that's over, the tension drops off again. So you have this kind of thing, it's okay. Oh my god, okay, we're over it. And the problem is that downward slope can be a bit, okay, well, it's kind of, we've done the hard bit now. I know there are no bad monsters left. All the 4 bosses have come out. All the boulders have come out. The plagues have all come out. Okay, there might be a couple more trolls in there, but and then it can even get to a point later on in the game where it's like, well, we know we've won because the monsters on the left don't have enough hit points left to do anything. Especially right towards the end, where there might even be 3 monsters on the board. If they're all in one zone, you might have whole hands of blues and green cards, and they might all be in the red zone, and then you can't do anything. So it has little problems like that in it, but generally I think it's a really, really good game. Again, if you are a family, especially if your children are on the younger side, I would definitely look into Castle Panic. I think it's a really solid purchase. And the Wizard's Tower expansion, it's a fantastic expansion. Just beware that I think it changes the game from a simple family game into much more of a gamer's game. And if you're like me and you've got a young family, but you also play in gaming groups and stuff, there are other games I would never bring Castle Panic to the gaming group. I never have. I wouldn't, if someone wants to play it, I'd happily bring it, but I never have done. There are other games I can play for that. So why take a simple game and make it much more complicated? I don't know. Anyway, I'd be really interested to hear your comments. Am I right? Am I wrong? Do you think the Wizard's Tower is a must-buy? Let me know. Put comments below. Otherwise, I'll see you hopefully in a few days, back with Benji to do the run-through. Until then, take care.